Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of No Love Lost 2.0. And today I just want to give y'all a quick little bonus episode that I'm going to put out 2 episodes this week. So this is going to be a second episode. The first episode that's coming out will be Grinder Stories. I hope you guys enjoy that, where I have Jesus on. So today I just want to talk about pouring into yourself and not allowing yourself to forget the purpose of your life. You know, I've had people come into my life that I've helped out and they've helped me. And I've definitely think people could be a blessing. I definitely think people could be a curse. Recently, I've had some weird interactions with friends that I've been friends with for quite some time, where I feel like they were confused about their place in my life. Some people overstep their boundaries in my life, and some people don't really know where they hold value in my life, you know? I think sometimes we confuse the difference between the two. You know, I'm a little sick under the weather, y'all. So whatever the case may be, I've had a friendship with quite a few people for a few years. And I think that sometimes my friends confuse my willingness to help them and taking advantage of it, you know, and that doesn't always mean somebody asking for anything financially. Sometimes that could be a spiritual thing with that could be, finances as well. You know, what it comes down to is sometimes people confuse the two and don't realize that they're taking advantage of you. And sometimes you have to learn to step back and stop feeding things that don't do anything for you. Like I had just told my friend Lamar the other day, I said, I don't feed things that are dead. Sometimes when things are dead, you have to let them be and let them go. Sometimes it's too often we sit up here try to fix things with people when God is trying to pull us away from them. You know, a lot of the times that things have happened in my life, I realized later on, like, wow, you know what? If I would have just listened to that first instinct or that inner voice, I could have avoided a lot of pain. You know, I learned that now that I'm in my early 30s, I've realized that, you know, people be like, oh, damn, you don't care? Oh, you don't care if people leave your life? It's not that I don't care. I do care. But I also know I have to allow people to live their lives the best version for themselves and vice versa for mine. So recently, one of my closest friends of 16 by almost 17 years said he wasn't going to be coming to my wedding at the end of this year. And I did feel some type of way. And I'm like, why are you not coming to my wedding? Oh, my depression, I'm fighting demons and all of this. And I don't want to bring that negativity towards you. You know, when I think about it, of all the years we've been friends, they haven't been a bad friend. They haven't. You know, the good outweighed the bad, but when it was bad, it was bad. And I also think that we have to understand something, you know, like everybody's like, oh my God, you don't care that they're not going to be at your wedding. No, it's not that I don't care. I just accept that this is where they are and this is where I am. And I respect that decision because I can't control and dictate nobody's life. I'm not here. And this is a lot of times people say, oh, I'm being used. So many of us feel so used. Like, oh, this person's using me. I've been used by my baby mother, used by my parents, by my family, by boyfriends, girlfriends. But to what extent do you allow yourself to be used? To what extent do you say, you know what, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm not going to continue on with this. You know, I'm going to remove myself because at the end of the day, this does not feed me. You know, it's too often that we have to realize that God places us in people's lives to be used. But the question is, when does he tell us to stop and when do we continue on? Sometimes God will literally try to pull something from you and you will sit up there and hold on tight for dear life. Like if your life depended on it, and then he has to rip it away. It takes for him to rip it away for you to understand that you no longer are supposed to be in that place. You are no longer supposed to sit with that person or with these people or in that environment. You know, we have to realize when it's our time to go and when it's our time to step on. Too often we are comfortable being in a place that is comfortable. In order to grow, sometimes you got to get uncomfortable. You have to do things that challenge who you are as a person. You have to do things that are different than what your norm is. I'm not saying that nobody's perfect. And yes, people use people. That happens all the time. But sometimes God has put you in a position to be used, but you allow yourself to be overextended and used. So you have to realize when it's time to step back and focus on yourself. You know, you have to realize when it's time to sit here and not have these premeditated thoughts of anger and upsetness. The only reason why you're angry is because you feel like, oh, I was used. I was taken advantage of. Okay. Now, how far did you allow that to go? It's too often that we sit up here and say, oh, they just used me or they took advantage of me. Okay, so when did you see the version of that person and when did you decide to stop? Did you decide to stop when you got to your breaking point, or did you decide to stop when God already told you, you did all I needed you to do? Now move on. I've been in situations where I dated somebody for 4.5 years that I knew within the first year and a half it was not going to work. That was not my forever person. But guess what I did? I did what God told me not to do, and I stayed. I stayed longer than I spent more time in something that I was supposed to be there for a moment, and then I was supposed to keep it packet and keep on moving on. But you know what? I stayed. We do that in relationships, with friendships, with jobs, with people in our lives, with friends. We stay too long when we're not supposed to be there that long. And then we get angry about it when it doesn't work in our favor how we want it to end. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is take control of how you feel. Take control of your emotions. Take control of logic. Be a logical thinker. It's okay to have emotions, but make sure those emotions are intact and they're placed in the right place. Don't sit up here and be mad at the world when things don't go the way you want them to, when God already had told you to remove yourself. He already told you to step aside. He already told you to move on. He already told you to pack it up. He already told you to leave that job. He already told you to leave that relationship. He already told you to leave that friendship. Yet you stayed there. Now you mad. Now you're in your emotions. Now you're angry. Now you're upset, mad, sad, and pissed off. But at the end of the day, really, you did it to yourself. And that is something that people lack, the ability to take accountability. Too often we do not know how to take accountability for the things that we do and for the things that we allow. We allow people to do things to us, and then we get angry after the fact because we now have realized that we did not have control, when meanwhile you had control over the situation the whole time. It was up to you to walk away. It was up to you to say deuces. It was up to you to disappear. I have friends who stay in situations that it don't make sense. Why are you in that situation? I have a friend right now, been friends with someone over 10 years. They think that the length of time that they've been in that relation with that person strengthens the fact that they should be intact with them, not realizing that the situation was dead a long time ago. But instead, they're still living in a situation that does nothing for them, does not feed them, does not give them life in any way. It just drains them of their energy. I refuse to let anybody drain me of my energy. I refuse to let people take from me what I know that I have earned for myself. I refuse to let people impact their evilness or their unwanted spirits on my life. And I think people really got to really sit back and think. You can't say you were used and you haven't been used in the correct way. You allowed yourself to be overexerted. You allowed yourself to run your cup over to the point where your cup is empty. Your cup can't overflow when you allow the world to take everything from you. Your cup can't overflow when you allow people to just take your energy and take your spiritual energy and rely their demons on you and refuse to acknowledge that you need to heal and be by yourself without those spirits. Like I said, it's okay to walk away. The length of time don't mean shit to the disrespect. I constantly tell people that the length of time don't mean shit to the disrespect. If you disrespect me, if you do anything that is an ill intent to me, to harm me, to hurt me, to make me feel any type of way emotionally, physically, spiritually, I have to be the person to recognize your behavior and sit up here and say, you know what, I love you, but this don't work for me no more. This don't feed me no more. This does not engage with the life that I have chosen to live. That this does not speak life into me. This does not encourage me. This does not lift me. This does not do anything for me. But you know what? The comfortability of, we've been friends 20 years. We've been friends 15 years. We've been together 5 years. See, people get lost in the sauce of the time and don't realize that somebody could come in your life in 1 year and make you see something that somebody been in your life 15 years could never make you see. We have to remember, everybody's not meant to stay here forever. Everybody's not a root. Some people are like leaves and they blow with the wind. We have to realize, don't let that leaf come back and blow back in your yard. Don't let it come back and blow in your yard. Don't let it come back and forth. When it blows towards the neighbor's house, let it go. Let it go. Don't be angry. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have frustration. But don't be angry to the point that you lose yourself and you feel like everyone around you is trying to manipulate you. We have all been through trauma. But do we let that trauma settle how we live our lives? Do we settle and stay in that place? Do we let depression eat us up to the point that we don't see nothing beyond what we are going through? Come on now. I know y'all hear me out here. It's like, come on. I know y'all hear what I'm saying. We have to stop choosing to be unhappy. Happiness is a choice. You may not have the finances. You may not have the ability to do certain things right now. But if you start choosing to have a conscious decision every day to look at your day and look at the blessing in your day, you will find happiness. It's too often we find something wrong in our lives where we don't see the peace and joy that we have, the roof over our heads, the cars we drive, the food in our fridge. It's not about comparing your life to anybody else's, but it's about focusing on the race that you run by yourself. Focusing on the race that you run and looking ahead. Don't look back. Don't look to the side. Don't look left or right. Look ahead. Focus on yourself. Don't let depression be the reason why you lose focus. Don't let depression be the reason why you lose your family. Don't let depression be the reason why you don't ever grow as a person. Don't get comfortable to the fact that don't get comfortable to the point where you don't know nothing else but that job or that friendship or that relationship. And you allow yourself to be used to the point where you feel like everything is out of control. And you sitting here going to God like, oh, why you letting these people use me? I'm so angry. I'm so upset. No, that's you. That's you living in your flesh. You have to know when it's time to let go. You have to know when it's time to free yourself of situations that do not help you grow. You have to know when you are being used and when you're being overly used and when it's time to stop. Everybody on this earth is going to be used for something, but you have to know when it is time to stop being used. You have to know when it is time to make a decision on how to move forward in your life without people who do not make it better, people who do not feed your happiness. It's too often, like I said, we'll look at the length of time versus the disrespect. People wonder why people be married 30 and 25 years and get divorced. Because that woman or that man was over that relationship but didn't know how to leave it. They kept choosing the relationship over themselves. I will always tell people, choose yourself. Choose your happiness. Don't sit up here and sit in something that is not going to feed you and make you happy. Don't sit up here and sit in anything that is going to make you feel depressed. Like I said, love is key. This is No Love Lost 2.0. I'm Zafir, and this is a little bonus episode for y'all. This is not really episode 11. Episode 10 came out, which is Grindr Stories, and this is just a bonus episode I decided to give y'all. This was something on my heart, and I always want y'all to remember, one, love.